What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use a rod bolt stretch gauge. Basically, you're going to be using this to torque the rod bolts on your engine. Whenever you're building an engine, it's a good idea to go ahead and get a rod bolt stretch gauge. Just that way you can verify your torque, because not every torque wrench is the same. So you want to go ahead and make sure, first of all, you have a known good calibrated torque wrench. This is a brand new one that I just bought from Lowe's. This is a Cobalt 1/2 inch electric torque wrench that I will be using today. And then my rod bolt stretch gauge is right here. This is just an ARP rod bolt stretch gauge. I bought this online. It was about 180 bucks. So basically today I'm just going to show you how to use it. Alright, so first thing what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take your rod bolt and you want to go ahead and take it out. Hopefully you haven't already torqued them. I'm still doing it with it inside the engine, just that way I can show you guys. And what you want to do, you want to take your rod bolt, pull it out. You want to set it right inside your rod bolt stretch gauge like so. Now on every rod bolt you're going to have, not on every rod bolt, every aftermarket rod bolt, high performance rod bolt, you're going to have little dimples in the rod bolt right here on the top and on the bottom, as you can see there. And what those are for is for a rod bolt stretch gauge, and it just kind of sits in your stretch gauge like so, right? So it sits in there like that. And the way that this works is basically what you want to do is you want to go ahead and measure the relaxed state of the bolt before it is torqued. So what I'll do, since I got it in there now, is I'll go ahead and I'll loosen this up. One second, it's kind of hard to do with one hand. So you want to go ahead and loosen this up. Now that it's loose, you want to go ahead and zero it out. And when you zero it out, it'll be right about there. You're going to go ahead and retighten it. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to take out your bolt. And then this is basically what the size of the bolt or the length of the bolt is in its relaxed state. So once you take it out, that is your measurement there. I just want to take a second to let y'all know that for some reason today I have a difficulty spelling, and so I can't spell stretch. If you look on that piece of paper, I misspelled it, and I'm having difficulty with 10 hundreds and thousands. So when you go to read those numbers, I'm going to be pronouncing it all wrong. So just want to let y'all know that. But the units are right and the measurements are correct. So do not grill me too hard on that in the comments. So appreciate it. Thanks. So now that I got that measurement, I'm going to go ahead and write it down. We're right at 45 thousandths of an inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that down. I've already done a couple, as you can see, so I go ahead and I write everything down. Another thing that you want to have is a sheet here that will either come with your rods or with the rod bolts from the manufacturer, and it'll tell you that you want to go ahead and torque it down to these values here and have a verified stretch within these limits here. So as long as it falls anywhere between here and this value here, you have the maximum clamping force that the bolt is designed for. So with it being rod bolts, you definitely want them to be tight and snug, and you want to get the maximum strength or maximum clamping force out of them, considering it's the most stressed bolt in your bottom end. So now that I have that measurement, now I'm going to go back over here, and then I'm going to put the bolt back in. And then ideally, you almost want to have two of the rod bolt stretch gauges, one being for this bolt, one being for the other bolt, because once you set that torque value down, or once you set that value in there, you don't want to really change it. I mean, you can, but it's just easier if you have two and a lot quicker. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other bolt here. And we're basically going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and put the bolt in there and then zero out the gauge and then see what the measurement of rod bolt B. This is how I write it down. I go A, B, A, B, A, B, cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, obviously. So this is going to be bolt B. So we're going to take rod bolt B, put it in the stretch gauge. I always try to give it like a little spin, just that way I know that it's, good. So we're going to go ahead and zero this one out. Right there. Okay, so now that it's zeroed out, we'll go ahead and put this back in the cap. Okay, so looking at it again, it says all bolts should be torqued between 55 and 60 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and start with 55 and then verify my stretch and see where I'm at there. So far, I've been verifying my foot-pounds, and it comes right out to the max stretch that I want, which is 60 thousandths or 6 thousandths. So I'm going to go ahead and torque it to 55 foot-pounds and then verify the stretch. So once again, this is a Cobalt torque wrench that I just got from Lowe's. It's a 1/2 inch. It was about 150 bucks. And I have, you know, the typical standard, you know, Pittsburgh, Harbor Freight torque wrench, but I did it before and I didn't feel like it was accurate. So I went ahead and just got a brand new one, so that way I knew that, you know, everything was going to be right. So we're going ahead and turn it on, and that C right there just calibrates it. So you want to make sure that it's on a level surface, and now it is calibrated and ready to go. All right. So now that we're ready to go ahead and torque. Now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of bottom both bolts out on each side, just so that way they're even. And now that they just start to snug up, I'm going to go ahead and torque my first bolt. This is going to be bolt B. Try to be as steady as possible. Okay, so that's 55. All right, and that's 55 as well. Now this is why it's nice to have two of these, because that way you don't have to go back and change the measurements back and forth between rod bolt A and rod bolt B. Since the last bolt that I had, I did for rod bolt B, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it where it's at. So let me write this down real quick. It was right at 40 thousandths on rod bolt B. So where's my pen at here? There's rod bolt B is 40. So now we're going to go ahead and take our rod bolt stretch gauge. We're going to go ahead and put it on the engine and verify our rod bolt stretch. So once we go ahead and put it in there, once again, just go ahead and put it right here. Oops, sorry. Go ahead and put it right here in the dimple. You'll feel it kind of lock in place there. All right, now that it's locked in, so we can go ahead and see that the gauge does go in half increments. So it's, if you see, it's a little bit past the 5, so 5, 5.5, and 6. So that's actually dead on as far as the stretch goes. So we know that the stretch is good, that it's maximum torque limit. Rude. Don't they know I'm trying to make a video? Alright, and so now that we know that rod bolt B is torqued to its maximum stretch limit, we're going ahead and remove this. So I know that that is good to go. I went ahead and wrote down my information there saying that I torqued it to 55 foot-pounds and received a stretch of 6 thousandths. So rod bolt B on cylinder 3 is done. Now we're going to go back over to bolt A. That's why it's always good to measure both bolts before you start. So now we know that we need to reset our dial indicator here to 45 hundredths. And then we'll go ahead and put it right back on bolt A and measure the stretch on bolt A. So now it's kind of clipped in place there. You can go ahead and see bolt A. Make sure it's nice and bolt A, you're right at also 6 thousandths, so that's perfect. So bolt A and bolt B are both torqued to 55 foot-pounds, which is what was recommended from the manufacturer, and received a stretch of 6 thousandths, which is the maximum stretch limit that you want to achieve on the rod bolts. Alright, so now that I know I got that torqued correctly, I like to go ahead and just take like a red marker or something and just mark it. Just that way I know it's torqued, because it's probably going to be a while before this engine's finished being put together. right. So now I'm going to go ahead and just do the same with those ones, and then we should be all good. So yeah, guys, pretty short video today. I just wanted to show you guys how I stretch the rod bolts. If you're interested in this build, this is my 1000 horsepower K-Series build that I'm building for my MR2. It's a 4A1 with a CSS O-ring block. And let me kind of show you guys real quick. It's got CP pistons and then Wiseco boost line connecting rods. It's got the O-ring top as well in here. I got my copper O-rings. So this bottom end should be, you know, able to support well over 1000 horsepower if I so needed to. Don't think I'm going to quite get there immediately, but we shall see. Going to be running a GT42 1200 compact turbo for it. So pretty excited. Right now I'm actually getting ready to finish assembling my head, put my cams in. The head is just a Stockport TSX head. I'm gonna see if I can get as much power as I can with the Stockport to achieve 1000 horsepower. If I can, that'd be great. The head has Ferrera 6000cc valve, or 6000 series valves in it that I had resurfaced at a machine shop, and then they also went ahead and machined valves and everything and lapped them for me. And then I went ahead and then installed bronze valve guides as well. And then it's going to be running a SuperTech 90-pound dual valve springs and retainers, as well as Drag Cartel stage 3.2 cams. So that's going to be a pretty cool little head setup. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate y'all watching. If you want to go ahead and follow this build, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe as well. Turn your notification bell on. That way you're updated whenever I post more videos. And yeah, so that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll freaking see y'all later. Peace.